Hello there, folks, and welcome to this brief mutation farming guide. I'm not going to waste you guys' time. We're going to jump right into what this whole thing's about. This video is not about mutations in general and what they do. This is more a method of how to acquire mutations as fast as possible without having to waste a ton of caps on the serums or anything like that. This can actually be done in a few areas, but we're actually going to be doing this over here by Wavy Willard's Water Park, specifically over here by the Willard Corporate Housing tag point on the map. So this method involves a little bit of server hopping. You probably want to have some diluted RADaway as well. It seems to be the best thing to have when you're trying to remove mutations, because you will probably have to do that because there is some RNG involved in this. I know other people have talked about using areas like Blackwater Mine, which, Lord knows, I don't even remember where that is, somewhere down here. Here it is. Yeah, I know people have talked about utilizing Blackwater Mine, but we're not going to use that method because it doesn't seem to be super reliable. And during testing with this, after I've gone through and gotten several different mutations, it seems like the mutation is directly tied to the server. So I've noticed that server hopping helps out with this, because I've had moments where I've gotten a mutation, and if I stay on the same server, I won't get another mutation for 2 hours. Whereas if I server hop, we can actually get one in about maybe a minute to 3 minutes, so it doesn't actually take super long. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to knock off the, oh lord, I got perk packs and all kinds of nonsense. We're going to take off the Starch Genes perk, which is actually super handy if you're trying to use mutations for a specific build or anything like that. Me personally, this is a melee build that I've been running since the launch of this game, so we have things like Adrenal Reaction, Electric Charge, Speed Demon, Twisted Muscles, Unstable Isotope. There's a couple more I wouldn't mind having in there, but I didn't want to roll the dice on RADaway for it, so that's what I stuck with. But the main method involves standing on this pool here and actually just absorbing as much radiation as you can. Generally, mutations occur at lower health, higher rads, from what I've found. That may not be 100% correct, but that just seems to be when most of my mutations tend to pop. So we'll wait here for a second. We'll wait until this happens. If we end up dying from this, that's fine. You can either just... So there we go. There's the first mutation. So we mutated. We became an herbivore, which isn't the worst thing ever. Carnivore is a little bit better. So in a lot of cases, what I would do is I would actually try to RADaway this, but given that I've got a decent amount of positive mutations and no ability to respec as of yet, because this is actually being recorded before December 11th, which is when the patch for the respec thing is coming out, I don't really have an option to change up my luck build to add Class Freak in any other capacity to reduce some of those negative effects, so that's not super helpful, but we've already gotten our first mutation. Now, we could stand here in the vent and try to get another mutation here for a couple hours, but the easiest thing to do is to just go ahead and back out and actually quit out of this server, so we'll just go back to the main menu, and we'll jump into another server, and we'll see the pretty much an immediate mutation almost right out the gate. It may take a couple deaths to get it, but it's not super hard to do. I've seen a bunch of different methods online from Reddit and a few other places, and it seemed like there was some confusion on how this whole thing works, and I've pretty much come to the conclusion that it's absolutely tied to servers. Other people may have different experiences, but with my character specifically, it seems like every time I server hop, it resets some type of internal cooldown on getting a mutation, and I guess that's in place to prevent people from getting a ton of mutations if they're in a heavily irradiated zone. I don't know. And maybe clearing your server and jumping into a new one actually refreshes that internal cooldown. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly how it works, but it does appear that jumping servers does speed up this process a lot. In farming, what I would normally recommend is having a general idea of which mutations you want. I'll have a link to a site that has what all the mutations do and everything, so you might want to peruse through that a little bit and see which mutations you might like, and then just follow this method of server hopping, running into this pool, waiting for the rads to build up, and if you die, that's fine, because you can actually respawn right here, which is actually why I really like this spot. The load times are super low. You don't have to worry about wiping away rads. You will have to get used to seeing that quite a bit, though, so you just respawn at the Willard Corporate Housing. There's nothing going on there, and it takes just a couple seconds. This is on an SSD. I'd imagine on like a standard hard drive it might take a little bit longer, but it is by far not... It's not a long run back to try it again, so let's see how long it takes to get our second mutation. Okay, so there's our second mutation. That was Scaly Skin, which Scaly Skin's not super bad for a melee build. It's something I don't mind having. Keep in mind, when you use something like Radaway, generally if you get a mutation you don't like, hope that you get it early on so you can Radaway and make sure that you get that specific mutation off, because right now I'm okay. For the sake of this video, I've added Herbivore and Scaly Skin. I'm fine with that, so I'm just going to go ahead and relock my perks after this, but if there's a perk that you wanted to get rid of, try using a Diluted Radaway, because generally they're more common. You can use that to remove any of these, I don't know if I just said perk or if I said, it doesn't matter. Point is, you can use these to remove the different mutations. It is random, though, from what I've seen, so be very careful if you have a couple that you really like, and there's one that's kind of crappy, but you could probably tolerate it, especially with something like a perk like Class Freak or something like that. If that reduces it by enough, you know, I would definitely recommend just maybe sticking with it, because that's, I mean, you know, you look at Starch Genes, which is going to lock it, and then if you have something like a full ranked up Class Freak, that's 75% reduced negative effect. So a lot of these you can live with, that they're not that bad on the negative effects, so that might help you. But that's to, I guess, to recap really quick, all you need to do is head on up here to the Willard Corporate Housing. Make sure you kind of set that as your spawn point. If you die, run into any of these vents coming out of the ground. This one seems to be the closest to the spawn points. This is the one I use. And you could use any of them. Get your mutation, and as soon as you get a mutation, server hop, and then run back in the vent and get another mutation. Wipe it off if you don't want it, and try again. There's a lot of RNG involved with this method, but me personally, to get those original 6 that I started with, which were ones that I wanted, it maybe took me an hour of wiping things off and getting more mutations. So that's it. There's not much else to talk about. I'm not going to extend this to 10 minutes for some nonsense monetization, whatever. There's the info. So if you guys have any questions or anything, you can leave a question in the comments. Or if you have another method that you think works really well, you're more than welcome to share it. But thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Take it easy.